welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a movie review on the Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Now I will admit this is a spoiler warning, so if you have not seen the film, please pause this video right now and go see the film for yourself, because I do not want to be a spoiler for anyone, because I do not want to spoil for myself. Now neither just my thoughts and opinion on the film. This isn't like my solo review on like my final stage on the film. This is just some things that I noticed and that I really just wanted to point out in the film as a whole. So these are just my thoughts, okay? These are just my thoughts. Don't get mad if I say something that y'all dislike or disagree. These are just my opinions, okay? So let's get started. Rey being the final Jedi who embodies many thousands of years of Jedi generations. Meanwhile, we saw the kid in The Last Jedi who was Force sensitive, and he sensed something that was in the Force, but in this trilogy, they never touched upon that topic again in this movie. They completely ignored it. And when looking back at the trilogy, Force Awakening, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, there are many plot holes that J.J. Abrams, the director, changed from the last movie. And those were some of the things that were good, some that were improvised, utilizing a lot of characters. But one character they did not utilize very well is Rose and Finn's relationship, because in The Last Jedi, they did kiss, but after, in this movie, where he plans on leaving to fight alongside the Resistance, before they look, they're about to kiss, Finn just pats her on the shoulder and just leaves them like, this dude just friend-zoned her. He completely friend-zoned Rose, and it was totally unfair, but he doesn't touch on this topic ever again. I'm like, J.J. Abrams, what are you doing here? You have a lot of people who want certain characters ship with other characters, and I'm just like, is that really necessary? People ship for a reason, and I won't go on a whole tangent of that because that's not about the main focus of this movie, but you know, it is what it is. Aiden did an excellent job of making sure that we felt like the three main characters, Rey, Finn, and Poe, had excellent dialogue between them, made them seem as they were friends, which they were friends. Even some of the dialogues were set up to coincidence each of the characters' line helped build up toward it. But the movie did do an excellent job of playing a lovely tribute for Princess Leia for Carrie Fisher's unfortunate passing, and I'm not sure if some of the work was CGI or not. It wasn't completely discussed, but I think some of her scenes were like basically CGI, while some of it was of her actually her. I really couldn't tell because, you know, it's a movie, you can't really tell like what is CGI, what is not, but they did a good job honoring her in the way they had sent her off in the movie, which I thoroughly appreciated. There's one thing that I'm glad they did bring back. They did bring back Lando and Han's return to the trilogy to assist Leia in finishing her role was bringing back her son to the light and leading the Resistance. And in this case, in The Last Jedi, between Hans and Ben's reunion, where Han embraces his son Ben, if he hadn't completely turned to the dark side and completely had killed his father. The final fight, where Lando comes to the Resistance aid with many groups of Resistance fleet ships to help them. In this scene, Rando kind of reminds me of bringing the fleet together. Kind of reminds me of the Endgame scene where all the characters come together and fight as one. They did this amazingly for the visuals. Instead of completely focusing on deep character moments, sorry guys, not something you would want in a film that thrives on heavily character development. That should have been the first priority in this movie. Then the shot of the twin sons, which we see in the original Star Wars, of Luke returning home, and the same with Rey when she lays to rest Luke and Leia's lightsabers as they helped her on her journey with continuing The Last Jedi. But I think the strong point was finishing the character arc between Ben Solo / Kylo Ren, Rey Skywalker, she took up that mantle, and Leia's character arc, which I thought was very interesting, to say the least. With Ben Solo, however, let me find a good picture of him. See, yes. Looking at Ben Solo, that's not a really good shot of him. That's not really a good shot. of Ben Solo. Where's a good shot of Ben? There we go, we'll use that. There we go. Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, has been my favorite in these films. His entire arc is very interesting. I think is one of the few things The Last Jedi did well, despite dragging Luke through the mud and destroying his character to do it. Having Ben destroy Luke's academy was a perfect way to start his dark side journey. Then go to the Rise of Skywalker, where we see his character connect with Rey. Speaking of Rey, her parent lineage has been revealed in this, and then having her lineage be put into question since the first time we met her, where we see her childhood and finally get the answer that she's the granddaughter of the Emperor Palatine. Oh, and you gotta think, it's the Lord of the Sith. That's his granddaughter, and it kind of makes sense if you remember in The Last Jedi, where Luke does his training with her, and she has this strong connection to a dark place on the island, and it calls out to her, sensing her connection to the Empire himself. Even Luke feared her, and how he said she didn't even pull away from it, saying what he felt with Ben, his nephew. It's really, really weird if you brush that aside. It's shocking reveal, but bringing back the Empire back in the original Star Wars series was not necessary and not needed. But when you look at the director Johnson, who directed that film, The Last Jedi, Killed Snow, that was a way to cover his tracks, sadly. And then when Rey receives the white lightsaber, a perfect way to end her arc, because she's neither good or bad. She's in the middle. This is why the lightsabers represent the middle path. I wasn't too keen on Rey taking the Skywalker's name. It's something diminished what the Skywalker legacy represents. And I would have appreciated if, I can't believe it turned off of me. Sorry, guys. I would have appreciated if, say, someone who actually does have Skywalker blood in him, particularly Kylo Ren, whose original name is Ben Solo, who literally has Skywalker blood in him. Literally. But, was denied that because his arc in embracing and accepting his mom's side family, the light side, he was able to give up his dark persona of Kylo Ren and embrace his light side of Ben Solo. Like his father had told him in a vision at the Death Star after his battle with Rey, is that his father Han said is Kylo Ren is dead and Ben Solo, or Ben Skywalker, is alive, basically. And they had made Ben Skywalker, then that would have been much better, and it would have made more sense. He was truly the only one who deserved the true Skywalker title, and that was talked about in the title itself. It would have made more of an impact than having the Emperor's granddaughter, aka Rey, and having Palatine, and how she ended up not embracing her heritage, but ended up embracing the Jedi heritage of the light, and versus diminishing her dark side, which she has seen in many, many visions of herself, trying to figure out where her lineages and parentage have came about, sadly. But having the Emperor come back from the original series and not stay dead, it just shocked me that he had kids and someone was willing to give him a grandchild and children, and just gets a weird feeling down my mind. But apparently, during his heyday, he was very powerful, and women probably just flocked to his feet. But still, the fact that Ben character ended with him saving Rey was wonderful. I'm happy that's how his character finished his journey. I was expecting that this was his end, but I thought it would be very good to see him by Rey's side, especially since they fought together when she gave him Luke's rightful lightsaber to him through the Force when he was finally able to accept it. Sorry guys, hold on one second. I'm tired of, that would have been better. But no, Rey, we have to see him give up his life force and force heal Rey, and then him redying with his mother. I thought it was very sweet. But I thought I would like to see him take up the Star Wars mantle, and him taking the legacy that was in his blood all along, instead of her taking it, because technically she's not related to any of the Skywalkers in blood. Sure, they helped train her and everything, and by her originally receiving Luke's lightsaber in the first movie was helping her instead of Kylo Ren because he denied his light side. He embraced the dark side. That's why the lightsaber went to her instead of him. And then it came full circle when the lightsaber truly went back into his hands in this last movie. But I still think it was unfair how they killed off his character. And I thought he should have stayed alive in this franchise because, well, he is a Skywalker. It's in his blood. But that's not what the directors had in mind, apparently. So, yay. Especially a way to redeem his character who took damage control. That how he stood next to his sister. And I'm just like, how Luke was able to take damage control, helping tell Rey how she can bring Ben back to the light side while fixing the damage control that was done to his character in the Last Jedi movie. And I think it's something, by seeing them side by side in the Force was something, is them coming as one. And then another part I liked about is hearing all the Jedi voices talking to Rey during the battle scene was phenomenal. Hearing the original Jedi come back to voice the original roles was spectacular, like Liam Neeson, Samuel Jackson, Hayden Christensen, Hugh McGregor, and Frank Oz, and more. Even though we didn't see them, it ended their journey as well. Even though they were all gone, they all moved on with the Force and even got a chance, nice way to end this saga that was truly for many generations. And I think it's a nice way to end the trilogy as a whole. Even though sometimes I think it's really nice that Chewie got the medal that he was never rewarded in the first movie, he finally got from Leia. And like this new power, the Force healing, how Rey Force healed Kylo after she fatally stabs in the abdomen, she heals him with some of her life force, and before she Force healed a Kylo Ren, she Force healed a snake creature with Force healing. And if you also seen The Mandalorian, that also mentioned a lot of Force healing, which was never mentioned in the previous film, since both Vader and Palpatine were struggling to figure that out. But apparently they knew all along they could do Force healing, but they never touched on it because Palpatine lied to Luke when he was on the dark side that he couldn't do Force healing. So that's a lot of things that were not really appreciated in this movie. And I just felt like, besides when Rey was on Kylo Ren's ship, she used the Force to manipulate the stormtroopers' minds and saying that they are glad to see her and this, that, and third. I'm like, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. And she's flying everything using the Force. Like, that's pretty cool, but like, none of that stuff was ever mentioned, like, at all. And then, like, she was able to pull down a transporting ship that was never done before besides the video games of the Star Wars series. But anyway, and then are we also going to discuss how Force sensitive is Finn? Like, he could sense Rey's presence even when she had died, even to know what satellite to attack on the Imperial fleet to jam the signal and to win the war. Like, that one that still bothers me. Like, what is that? And also, one that still bothered me, what was Finn going to tell Rey when they were sinking in sand? What was so important that he was like, we'll talk about this later. And they asked about it twice. Poe even asked them, what was he going to tell Rey when they were captured and almost annihilated? What was the thing you were going to tell Rey? And it was never mentioned. Until I realized, I looked back at my notes and looked back at the movie and the director's comments, that what Finn wanted to tell Rey was like, he knows the Force, I guess, or he uses it, or I don't know. I guess he was going to tell Rey that he senses the Force and that he can sense Rey when she was, like, almost dying or know where she was. Like, he could sense her. Like, he could have sense which satellites to hit, and then also he just had a feeling or intuition where he can sense a destroyer being, or one of the main Empire fleets being destroyed. Like, he sensed that. But we'll never get to know that answer per se, which is really bothering me. I wish they would have cleared that up in the movie, but they just didn't, which is a little sad. I thought he was going to address the feeling for Rey, but apparently not. That was never addressed on the movie, especially when Kylo Ren gets to wield the lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber, and I was thinking this was a way to end the series as a whole, and I thought it was particularly spectacular, and I thought that, oh, this is a proper way to end the trilogy, but I still felt like yes, his character did get redeemed, but in a way, not how I was hoping. I was hoping that they would end together, because that was a lot of the pairings you would see on the internet. But you see him get flamed, embrace his light side, die, kind of, and then like revive Rey from her defeating of her grandfather, and then him just vanishing along with his mother. I was like, wait a minute, don't he deserve more than that? Yes, he got redeemed into the light side and stuff, but don't he deserve to fight along with the resistance that he tried so hard to defeat from like rooting his plans and whatnot? Does he not deserve that? Does he not deserve the redemption? Like, come on, guys. Like, did he not deserve some type of validation of him going to the light side and like being with Rey and the others? Apparently not. And then we have the Knights of Ren, which are these creepy things behind Kylo Ren, which is very interesting, but their parts weren't really important. I feel like with Rey passing him Luke's lightsaber at the end of the movie was a way for him to embrace that he's free from his dark persona of Kylo Ren and fully embrace the side of Ben Solo for a short period of time. I thought this was a very touching part in the movie, but aside from protecting Rey from her grandfather, then telling her that she is Palpatine's granddaughter, that her parents lied to her and sold her to protect her because they knew that if Palpatine got a hold of his granddaughter, which is Rey, she would have been what she had envisioned was her dark side, or the dark Rey she saw in visions that were gonna like destroy the universe basically, and they lied and sold her to protect her because they knew her fate and they told her. That's why when Kylo Ren in the first movie told her that they were drunk or they showed her for another, that wasn't entirely true. They sold her to protect her, but not because they were drunks. They sold her to protect her because of who they were. Her father was the son of the most powerful Sith ever. Because of that, they felt like they had to save their child because they know what she was greater for good than just a life of evil. They didn't want that from her. I think that's another powerful connection between Ben and Rey, where they both were battling between the dark side, and they truly end up coming to the light and basically end up annihilating their dark sides for good, which I thought that was a powerful connection between the dark forces between the both of them, which is very hard to imagine between these two characters. I'm trying to find a better shot that I think, there we go. I'm going to just do this again because I just like the scene of them battling on the Death Star between good and evil, where she finally lets go of her. They encounter another Sith Pathfinder, and Ren destroys it, and that just lights the anger inside Rey, that how she embraced her dark side again, which lets her anger the best of her, and she basically attacks Kylo Ren again, and fatally wounds him when his mother calls out to Kylo to save her son, and she takes this chance to stab at him, and she realizes that when she senses Layla's passing, that she realizes what she did was wrong. And I feel like another point in the movie where Rey lets the anger the best of her is when she gets angry at Kylo for forcing her hand of trying to pull back the transport ship that has Chewbacca on it. She lets lightning spew from her fingers, and that's the signature style of the Emperor himself, and revealing her connection to the Empire, signature style. And it just ties back to the training with Luke on episode 8 of the Last Jedi, where she is getting this sense of a dark energy, dark presence on the island, and Luke fears that in her. And then she has a vision of a darker self, of her darker version, where she encounters herself, but a darker version of Rey as a Sith, and her double wielding a dual-bladed lightsaber, where it seemingly bests her, which is another example of how Luke battled a darker version of himself as the Dark Vader when it reveals to him to be underneath that mask, which is really interesting how they did representing of both sagas. Then when Rey and Ben encounter again, Rey mentioned to Luke in the last movie that Ben is the last hope when facing the Emperor, and bringing him back to the light side. And when he revives her with his light, sorry guys, with his light force to bring her back, also connects him with his mother, Leia. Leia, sorry guys, from completing his cycle and turning completely away from the dark side is when he uses the last of his life force that wasn't drained from the Empire, from the both of them, to bring her back to life when she did an exhausting battle of defeating the Empire herself. And then him using Force Skin to kill her just to embrace in a passionate kiss. And I was like, okay, they're gonna be together. It's gonna like be well. But then he fades away because he's last bit sorry guys, last bit of his energy to save her. And he faced the difference to be reunited with his mother and Athlete, which I thought was very sweet. But also, he is the last Jedi. He has the blood of the Skywalker in him, hence titled The Rise of Skywalker. I was not expecting Rey to have to take the Skywalker name. I thought it was going to be Ben Solo, because he has Skywalker blood in him. But that's not what the directors wanted, sadly. So that's what I would like to turn out differently. I wish Ben would have survived, honestly, after reviving Rey from battling with the Empire, her grandfather. But I would appreciate it if it would have been Ben Solo who took the mantle of Skywalker. But Skywalker is literally in his bloodline, and his heritage. That way, they both could have walked out alive together. They could have joined the remaining in the Resistance, and that would have been the end of the trilogy. He would continue on the mantle of the Skywalker legacy. He would have been able to bury his parent, his mother's lightsaber, and his uncle's lightsaber as a whole, and back on his home planet of Tatooine. But that is not what the director wanted, sadly. So that was his choice. But when Kylo Ren felt her presence on the ship in The Last Jedi, he didn't attack her ship because he felt her presence. And that's what prevented him from attacking her, because he still loved her. And then when Leia called to him preventing him from delivering the final blow to Rey on their duel on the Death Star, Leia brought her son back to the light side, which I thought was a nice touch as a whole. And I thought that was a nice way to end the series, but I just felt like his arc was, yes, it was nice. It was able to redeem him as a character as a whole. I just wish they didn't kill him off the way they did. I get it. It was a way to somewhat end the Jedi, but in the rise of one person to be the Skywalker. But I just wish it was Ben, because he literally has the lineage in his bloodline. He deserved it. But Rey also deserved it too, because she's been stuck between the light and the dark side of her lineage for a while. I just wish that it was both of them instead of just one. But that's what the director had wanted. That's just what he had thought out. And I'm just like sad that Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, didn't get his lineage that he wanted, but he did get a redeemable arc, which I am very pleased to say that they did a good job redeeming his character arc as a whole, and with Rey's and everybody's character arc, they ended really well. I just wish that they gave him what he truly deserved, and he got able to hold the Luke's lightsaber like that was truly sorry guys, truly his to begin with. But overall, it was a good movie. I appreciate the film, I appreciate the visual aspect and all the tributes they gave to everybody. I just wish that Kylo Ren was alive to continue that Skywalker legacy, but I'm not in director's mind. That wasn't his opinion thing about the script. I just wish they left Kylo Ren alive, or Ben Solo alive, to continue his Skywalker legacy, but they didn't. But the trilogy has come to an end. They can't milk it out any longer, but they can always bring characters back to the dead, since they brought the Emperor back from the dead. So why not Ben Solo, But that's just my opinion on the film, guys. That's just what I thought of the film as a whole. Overall, I enjoyed it. I just wish some things they would just had touched on, between how force sensitive is Finn, and also we just supposed Pat as a spice runner. Like, come on, guys. I'm like, what about the other stormtroopers that kidnapped and stuff? And like, come on, I get that Kylo Ren destroyed his dark side persona and embraced his light side, but come on, he should have been the Skywalker. Just saying. I mean, Rey doesn't not in relation to blood. She got it. Come on now, that's not right. But thank you guys for tuning into my movie review of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Tell me if you have seen the film, what is your thoughts and opinions on it? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see y'all next time for an anime review. I will get back on those, and I'll also let you know on this channel what I'll be posting on my podcast for season 2, because those are coming soon. And thank y'all for tuning into my review, and hope you have a nice day. Until then, and Happy New Year for 2020. Until then, guys, bye.